Gretzky looking, Gary Curry, McSorley to Gretzky! Scores! He did it! He did it! The greatest goal scorer in National Hockey League history is Wayne Gretzky!
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Kahuna's Corner. I'm fired up to get doing this stuff again. Hope everyone enjoyed the interview last week with Fly. Had a great conversation with him. If you haven't seen it, it's in the VODs on my Twitch channel, Big Kahuna 03. Go take a look if you haven't. Before we get started here, Popeye222, thank you for the follow. No thumbs and razor, thank you both for the sub. Appreciate it so much. Appreciate the support. Looking forward to today's conversation. I know I've been talking a lot about it in my Discord. Just to get started, this one's gonna be a little bit different. I am gonna share a video to help introduce my guest today. So stick with me here. I will show a video in a couple seconds. To kick things off, and I think it's just a really good opportunity to introduce my guest to the show today. So I'll get that started here in just a second. As guys start to filter in, this is great. Can't wait to get this season started with getting Kahuna's Corner regular up and going again too, and some other things along the way. So let's kick it over here. All right. Enjoy here, guys.
To you by Giuseppe Pizzeria. Bring home real pizzeria pizza taste. Bring home Giuseppe by Dr. Utker.
Sometimes a career and a life is altered by a single moment that starts like so many others, but suddenly veers in a different direction.
Our game was out of town that night. Probably a game or two into the season. We were just amped to go. Chipped the puck off the wall and I got it by the guy, so I just took off with it. I shot it off my right leg and I'm a right shot, so I kind of lost my balance. I just said, oh crap, this is gonna hurt. Hit the boards and bounced back off and opened my eyes and my whole body was throbbing and I knew something was definitely wrong in that moment.
Paramedics rushed Justin to Swift Current, then airlifted him to Regina, where his mother nervously waited.
A lot of time went by. We're just there for him, watching the doctors and the nurses do what they needed to do. Then they said we should go home, grab some sleep, and I think maybe I slept for 20 minutes and the phone rang. I said, please come back. He's crashing.
I had to be stabilized for a few days before I went into surgery. Then they did surgery and I was in a halo for a month and a half. First time I really grasped the situation was probably a month into it when a doctor said, you're paralyzed, you're probably never gonna skate again, you're probably never gonna walk again. This is kind of your life.
Justin was in the hospital for more than 2 years. It was difficult and it was depressing, but there were reminders he wasn't facing this alone.
Probably 2 weeks in is when Ryan Smith came to visit. Meeting your idol, it's a really incredible feeling, and he was a great guy, came in, talked to me. My eyes were as wide as saucers that day. That was pretty much the best day ever in the hospital for me.
It was just phenomenal. The number of people, the letters that came in, all the jerseys and the hockey sticks. It was just so uplifting.
That kind of support really picks you up. It helps rally around you. I definitely think the hockey community looks out for their own.
Once he left the hospital, rehabilitation continued at a clinic in Regina called First Steps, where Justin first met Jason Shook.
The intensive therapy that we would provide Justin sometimes wasn't enough. You know, he would always want more and more and more, which is in line with Justin's personality quite a bit.
I've had a lot of experience with, okay, we're gonna prepare you for life in a chair. And the first thing they do is, let's get you out of the chair, let's get you moving. And it's just great.
Probably a bigger thing than just increasing his independence is it's increased his confidence. which has allowed him to just go out in the world and be a part of it. So that's a big thing.
Through everything, Justin never blamed hockey. He never got mad at it. Justin just refocused how he participated, how he watched.
Our birthdays are the same day, June 27th, so we always just got together, me, Jason, Shook, and Justin, and do our little draft lists of who we think will go where and see who's got the closer hockey knowledge.
This year, I believe he called the trade between Arizona and Detroit. He had said that Detroit's going to trade Pavel Datsyuk and has picked Arizona because Arizona needed to get to the cap floor. And about 2 minutes later, it happened.
Detroit trades Pavel Datsyuk and pick number 16 to Arizona.
Stefan Simon's mom is Mary Ann. She also works for the team. Together, they had this idea to get Justin back involved in the game. They told Warriors GM Alan Miller about Justin, and Miller was interested for a few reasons.
They told me his story, but they really talked about his passion for the game and how all he'd ever wanted to do since he got hurt was now he wanted to scout.
I was just super thrilled, and I went to camp, and the first guy I met was the GM, Alan Miller. He's like, come on over, we're gonna introduce you to the guys.
The players are all sitting in their stalls, and he gets introduced to the team, and now he is part of a team again. Warms my heart.
Miller respected Justin because of his knowledge, but he also related to Justin because of his own injury. When Miller was 15, a hit from behind broke his back, ending his playing career.
I'm fortunate to be walking today, but the story really hit home, and so from there, talked to Justin and got to know each other, and then we just put a plan in place. I compare him to a young, developing player in our organization where he's got a real sound base in terms of knowing the game, but we want to teach him and allow him to grow as a scout, and we want him to have a purpose and feel part of something and be part of our team.
This guy, very heavy.
That's what I like, this part right here.
He hits everything that moves. Really hard to knock off the puck. Really strong in the skates.
Being involved in the hockey, it's opening a new world for him. He can't play hockey anymore, but he can still love the sport. He can still be involved, and I think he's going to go far.
My Hometown, brought to you by Giuseppe Pizzeria. Bring
All right, thanks guys for taking the time to watch that at the beginning. I think it's a great introduction. It's a great storyline too. So, we'll, with later ado, let me just get this rocking and rolling now. All right, here we go. This is the set, as always, between two sticks. Your host, Big Kahuna 03, and joining me today, he is a LGHL Player of the Week. He's played goalie in all three levels in LG, a well-known player and has a reputation of being one of the nice guys around the league. Welcome to the show, Wheelz, KAHUNA'S. Welcome, man. Thanks for doing this.
Hey, thank you for inviting me on. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Obviously, again, I know I've said it to you, but I appreciate you so much for sharing that video with myself, allowing me to share that video with the community. The stream, everyone who's watching right now just got an opportunity to see it, and a lot of really good comments in the chat right now. But thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, I haven't watched that in a while. It kind of got me a little misty.
Yeah, no doubt, man. The one thing I thought was really humorous in what you said in that video, actually, and I think it comes like a lot of like recoveries in general, but this one I actually did chuckle, even though, yes, very tear jerking for sure to see something like that. But when you mentioned that, we're gonna prepare you to live the rest of your life in a chair and how to work work in a chair, right? And you said the first thing they said is, let's get you out of the chair and get moving. Like that made me chuckle when I saw that, for sure.
Yeah, it's an awesome thing too, because like a lot of my experience with rehab, they teach you things on how to improve your life in a wheelchair. Certain things like how to brush your teeth again, how to eat on your own again, feed yourself, how to navigate your wheelchair around a room and stuff like that. But it's kind of like I feel like active rehab is about 40 years behind what it should be. So the First Steps Wellness Center, they really get you up and moving and get the blood pumping again, and it's just a completely different mindset of rehab. Instead of living in a wheelchair, we're trying to improve your function, we're trying to get you moving, we're trying to make you walk again, and it's just an awesome facility here, local to me. So
Yeah, that's awesome to hear, man. And I'm gonna switch up the questions a little bit on you, just because we're on the topic right now, and this interview came to be because I've been following you on Twitter now for a while, and I see a ton of very motivating videos, right? Like of the work that you're putting in day out. Like if I ever want to conquer a day, watching one of those videos is something that'll make me do that. Like it's just so motivating. But one of my questions would be like, how often are you getting after it on a weekly basis?
yeah, so before COVID, I was going probably like 2 or 3 hours a week to the gym. Since COVID, I haven't been doing much, to be honest with you. Um, Kind of just hanging out at home playing LG, but yeah, I got to get back out there for sure. Probably like a lot of us, honestly. That's not just restrictive to me, but yeah, so I haven't been getting after it as much as I should be, to be honest with you.
Fair enough. And that brings me to I seen that one tweet there where of you getting back on the ice for the first time. Explain like how you felt in that moment.
Yeah, so that was an incredible day. Set up by we had a physio student at First Steps Wellness Center. She played for the Regina Cougars. She's a goalie. Um, she set it up, booked the ice and whatnot, and got me out there. And with the help of some other staff from First Steps, we got out in that lift. And yeah, they put my old skates on me, the skates I was wearing the night of my injury. And yeah, I just kind of sat at the edge there while they were doing up my skates and kind of had a bit of a cry to myself and just kind of released 16 years worth of emotional baggage. And yeah, got out there and it was awesome. Felt amazing to be up there. The ice felt a lot stickier than I remember. I don't know if you know how sticky ice is, I guess, but probably not. But it felt super strange to me trying to push my feet on my skates. It felt super sticky. I don't know how to explain it.
For
It's
sure.
weird.
Well, what time of day was it? The ice might have been sitting for a very long time. That can make the
Oh, it
ice
could have
actually
been,
feel
yeah.
extremely sticky. If it sits for a long time, that's why like if it sits for a while, they usually do a flood beforehand. They probably
Yeah, it was like
ice was
1
sitting for a
o'clock
while.
too. No one had played on it all
Yeah.
day, so
There you go. That's
that
why
could
then
be.
it confirmed it was sticky. It wasn't just you. It was sticky ice. All
Fair
right.
enough.
Sweet.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So the way a question I ask every single one of my guests, and knowing that there's some information shared about you through that video, one random or interesting fact about yourself.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know this about me, but I love to run marathons. Um, no, I'm just joking. Um, I don't know a random fact about myself. I'm a graphic designer during the day. I make I don't know, sports graphics and stream graphics and stuff like that. So kind of a random fact about myself.
Yeah, that's super cool, man. And like, do you do that on your own? Do you work for a company? Do you want to plug anything?
Yeah, so I just kind of run it out of my Twitter, whatever. I basically just am a contractor. I just do it as side work, kind of. Just whatever clients come around, kind of a freelance type of deal. So
That's super cool, and I'm sure you're proud of all the work you do. But is there anything that stands out as the something that you've done that you're the most proud of?
yeah, well, I recently got hired by the team to do all our social media graphics and scoreboard graphics and stuff for the Moose Jaw Warriors. So I just made a Halloween design for the Halloween game coming up, and it looks pretty sweet. And it'll be posted probably within the next few days. So I'll be retweeting that soon. It looks pretty sweet.
That's actually awesome, man. That's so cool. And then for everybody that's watching, if you don't like one of the graphical designs by the Moose Jaw Warriors, you know who to contact now.
For sure. Yeah. Send the message to me though. Don't send it to my boss.
Yeah. That's perfect. So when did you first join LG, and how did you hear about it?
Yeah, so I started playing NHL again after my injury in NHL 20. I was just playing a drop-in game, playing goalie. And a guy named B Red, he was in the drop-in, and he was like, "Dude, you're better than any drop-in goalie I've ever played with. Have you ever heard of LG?" And I was like, "What the heck is LG?" Um, I had no idea about competitive NHL or any leagues or anything like that. I thought you played drop-ins or you played clubs if you had some IRL buddies to rip with. So I had no knowledge that there was a competitive scene or anything like that. He told me about LG. I signed up, did some scouting games, got massively overbid by my first CHL team, and had a terrible first year in the CHL. And yeah, I've been playing LG ever since NHL 20. Season 34 to be exact.
Yeah, I did look that up, and I saw like you don't see it too often that like first season signing up you get a bid for a decent amount, right? So you must have been doing
Yeah,
something right.
everyone told me to do some scouting games, and I'm obviously I have no idea what's going on. I didn't know like you should look for specific owners or whatnot. I just scouted for everyone. And I was, yeah, got bid up to like 1.5 million my first time playing competitive NHL, and I'm like, and now I know that's a terrible idea to do a goalie, but you want to put that money into a defenseman if you can. So yeah,
I respect that too. The goalie saying, "Don't put the money on the goalie, put it on the D man," because I know you're thinking that if you have good D man, it makes your job a lot easier, right?
oh, 100%. Yeah, anytime you've got a good line in front of you, goalie's super easy at any level. So yeah, I'm very firm believer in min bidding a goalie. Basically anyone can play goalie at a high level if you got a good line in front of you. So yeah, min bid your goalies and put that money into defensive players.
That's funny. And when you first joined, did you find that it was like easy, challenging, like how to kind of navigate around the website or navigate and understand the league? Did you find anything challenging with that piece?
No, I think the site's awesome. And the community they've built is full of amazing people. Like every top goalie that I asked questions about when I was coming up through the ranks learning, all of them messaged me back. They'd give me tips, pointers, whatever. So the community LG has built is just phenomenal.
Yeah. You know what, I would agree with that too. Like obviously we're gonna have some bad apples here and there, and those are usually
Yeah,
the
there's
people that get blown up. But like there's guys that I've had fuck you matches with that like I go to them and I'm like, hey, I have to play defense in an AHL game. Can you give me your build? And they're like, yeah, here, no problem. It's like, okay, sweet. Like, yeah, you're right. The community's great.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like good things happen to good people. So like those bad apples, like I don't hang out with those people. So I don't even know of the bad apples in LG really. Like 98% of the community that I've met is just awesome guys.
Yeah, that's
Awesome
awesome.
guys, excuse me. So I haven't really had problems with anyone. Like my team last year was full of great guys. Like we had CJ on there, who's also known as one of the nicest dudes in LG. So yeah, I don't know. I think most of the dudes in LG are just great.
Yeah, that's I again I completely agree with you, and I'm glad to hear that from somebody else too. So maybe just back to, you mentioned the scouting and working with Moose Jaw. How many years have you been scouting with the team? And is it something that you would like to continue to grow and move on to the next level with?
Yeah, so I've been an official scout with the team for 7 seasons now. Well, this is season 7, I guess. Uh, Season just started like maybe a month ago or so. And yeah, I'd love to move on to the NHL one day and be an NHL scout. That's where the money is. So, not the only reason I'd like to do it. Obviously, I had a dream as a young kid, like most Canadian kids. I wanted to be an NHL player, and this is just my way of still chasing the NHL dream, right? So I'm trying to make it as a scout if I can. So
Yeah, that's awesome. And
yeah,
I know you said it's
that's
not
the
about the
ultimate goal.
money, but it'd be nice to make money and do the thing you love too, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's like the thing. That's why like competitive chell is awesome too for a lot of these guys because it's something you'd be doing anyway. I mean, we all complain about the game in our own ways and stuff, but we'd still be playing. We love NHL. We love gaming, and to be able to make some money while you're gaming too is pretty awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And maybe if you could like explain to the viewers what is your role on the team as a scout, and maybe walk us through kind of what a day looks like as a scout, or a week, whatever is easiest to explain, like how it kind of rolls for you.
Yeah, so for me, I'm a WHL scout for our team. I'm one of the only WHL scouts in the league. Generally, uh, every team's scouts can go watch WHL games, but generally that's up to like the head of scouting and your manager generally do that role. So I'm one of the few actual WHL scouts in the league. Most guys are regional scouts, which means like, so I'm in Saskatchewan. We've got 2 regional scouts in Saskatchewan. They cover the entire province, and they just cover bantam prospects. They drive around the entire province all year and just write reports on bantam players for the upcoming bantam draft. So I do basically the same thing except WHL. I go to WHL games, Regina Pat games, Moose Jaw Warriors, etc. And I watch the teams that come through Saskatchewan, and I fill out reports on players already in the league, and we use those for trade purposes or whatever else. When Alan Miller was on our team, he was also the GM of Team Canada for the World Juniors and the under 18s and stuff. So he would use a lot of those reports for young 17, 16-year-olds in the league as well, for just extra eyes on them, extra reports, extra knowledge. So that's kind of what I do.
That's pretty sweet, man. Um, yeah, like it's kind of like in the NHL they have them the pro scouts, right? And for
Yep,
sure,
yeah, yeah, they
do
go
you ever
around the
your
games.
reports ever get to like the head coach being like, hey, like this defenseman cannot make a pass on his backhand, force him on his backhand all game? Do you ever get like that? Your notes going to the coach at all?
Yeah, my definitely have used before. The only time I can really remember doing like pre-scouting of a specific like team like that was for I don't know, like 3 or 4 years ago in the playoffs. I had to do that for our matchup against Swift Current, and they had like their entire decor were all like 6'3", 6'4", 6'5" kids, and they were just killing us in the corners. So yeah, I had to do like pre-scouting before the playoffs on them, for like all sorts of things, line matchups, who would be their extra attacker, who kills penalties, who would come out with the goalie pulled, etc., stuff like that. So, but I don't do too much of that. Generally that's up to our coaches.
Yeah, I mean everything's accessible by video now, right? So, I mean, like
Yeah,
I think you can even watch games specific. Like you can watch just the power plays in every game if you wanted to. You can watch just the penalty kills. Like so much stuff's available to coaches now too. It's crazy.
yeah, and our coaches are awesome. Like way more hockey knowledge than I'll ever have. So,
Sorry, just before we go on, just dominate. Thank you for the gifted subs, the 5 gifted subs to La Cupidon, Con, Crash of Aether, Rabbit, and Powsy. Thank you so much, Dominate. Appreciate the support. Um, so as a hockey scout, what is a moment that you're most proud of?
yeah, for me, the proudest moments are every year at the NHL draft when one of our players gets drafted into the NHL. That would be the proudest moments for me. Other moments would be when our kids get invited to NHL camps if they've been undrafted, or if they're drafted and they get invited to camp for their drafted team. Or anytime any of our kids make a national team, say they play for um, Czech national team at the World Juniors or something like that. So those are all proud moments, obviously.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. It couldn't be a better feeling for sure, moving guys to the next level and seeing them, other kids. Like I love that the comment of you mentioning like the undrafted guys getting an opportunity to go to camp, right, and make an impression
Yep.
on themselves. And obviously they didn't do that in the past, so it shows that like they've improved as players too, right?
That's the thing. Like the draft is not the end all be all. There's 7 rounds, like about 225 players out of your age group that get picked. 5 years from now, you could be a top 10 player in your age group. You just keep working hard. You never know what's going to happen. And I'm going to relate that to LG too. Hey, you end up on TC, work your butt off, show up when they need somebody, prove you can play, and you might bump somebody off the roster. It's not the end all be all getting a bid or getting a draft or things like that. Like You gotta just keep working hard, keep your head down, and focus on the goal that you have in mind.
No, that's good. Yeah, great advice. We don't honestly like you don't see it enough right now to be like the TC group just putting in the work, but it seems like LG is doing a lot of
I've
really
been
good
on
things to
TC
get
a
them
couple
involved.
times.
What's that, sorry?
I said I've been on TC a couple times. It wasn't that bad. So
Yeah. Now let's get back to LG. I think I know the answer, but have you ever managed for a team? If not, is it something that you ever thought of doing? It kind of seems like it'd be something in your wheelhouse with the work that you do in the W.
yeah, I've definitely thought about it, but again, it comes down to that thing where like I'm a firm believer your goalies should probably be your cheapest players if they're not like a Vane or somebody of that caliber, right? Um, so like for me, it doesn't make sense, right? You want your $8 or $9 million guy to be your manager because you want that free contract spot the way LG runs. You want to save that cap space to fill out your roster, your other lines, and improve your team. Because obviously it's fun to have a one line team if you play with that one line, but it sucks to play with the other two lines when they suck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
So I don't know if I'd ever do it as a goalie, to be honest. I feel like you have to be just a stud goalie to be a manager, and they're out there. Obviously, Slow Gazelle's one of them. He's a stud manager as a goalie. Um, but I don't think my goalie skills are up to the par to be a manager. A free contract, so
It's funny timing that you mentioned Slow Gazelle. He's in the chat saying AGM paid AGM wheels.
yeah, Gazelle's one of the few goalies that I think is a stud manager. So
That's awesome. Now, speaking of management, might be a difficult question for you, but looking for an answer here. Who is the best owner that you have had so far in this league, and why?
well, can I do it by like level, like CHL, AHL, NHL?
Yeah, sure. Let's do that.
Okay, so like my best CHL management group was the management group of like Fears, Sam Squatch, and MJ Koo. It's definitely the first time I was ever on like a competitive, like near the top of the standings team. Actually, probably the only time I've ever been on one in LG, to be honest. And that was fun. We went on a couple runs into the playoffs with those guys. They were an awesome CHL group to be with. I ended up re-signing with them once instead of moving up to the AHL. So that was an awesome group. AHL for me would probably be Spaceless Bark. He was a great guy to play for. I don't really have that many games in the AHL. I only played 34 games in the A, so I don't have much experience at that level. But yeah, and then NHL, I would have to say Freezer was probably, or Freezer. I don't know how you say his name. Great guy, great buddy of mine. He was fun to play for as well. And then surprisingly, terrible team last year, Anaheim Ducks, but I really liked their management guys, which was Giroux and Matt. They were very honest with me, straight up with me. They said they weren't going to trade me at the deadline if they didn't have to, even though I requested a trade. So I respect that honesty in a manager, right? Like I'm the last guy you have to lie to. Like if you're not feeling me or if you're feeling me, whatever, just tell me. Like I'm not going to get mad or anything. Like, so I respect honesty and integrity in a manager. So
Awesome.
yeah, those would be my favorite managers that I've played under in LG.
Yeah, I think the CHL season, like that would have been that Quebec team, right? Was it the
Yeah,
Quebec
so
Ramparts?
yeah, and before that we were the Wichita Thunder.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So and then we kind of blew it up in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Second round. We got some bad bounces and lost a couple games by one goal each, and yeah, we were bounced.
That's tough. Sam Squanch tends
Yep.
to just have really good teams, though. I mean, he was really close to winning a Mountain this past season too, and he's
Yeah,
going
I
to
know.
get another
I
opportunity
told
this
him I
season.
would have loved to play on that team this year. I think it would have been a blast to play with them this year. So
Yeah, they have a good group of guys and a really good team. Almost every season too, so that's awesome. And like I said, he gets another chance to try at it again. We'll see what happens this season.
yeah, but he's the type of guy. He's always honest with you and always tells you like what's up. If he's not feeling your play, he tells you to be better. If he's digging you, he tells you, hey, you're playing these games, and he sticks to that. And I think guys really respect that in a manager and want to play for him at the CHL level.
Yeah, for sure. And you kind of mentioned it here, but like the next question I did have was what you value most in a manager, and it sounds like integrity, right? Like, and being honest.
Yeah, I appreciate honesty because it's like, man, it's LG. Like, there's no reason to lie to anybody, right? Like, just tell me. I'm not gonna cry about it. Like, hey, I have bad games too, and you tell me to my face I'm playing bad. That's what it is. I'm self-aware enough to know when I'm playing bad in net, so it doesn't
Yeah.
bother me to be honest.
Yeah, no, I think that's super important too. And just having kind of like that line of communication probably too, right? Like, not, and just not being silent, just like, hey, like, telling people where they stand, what's going on.
Yeah,
It's
if you
part
know
of
what's
that.
going on, you know what to expect. You're gonna play better too. You're not thinking your job's on the line every time you make a mistake, so you can play a little more free.
For sure. Okay, so like I mentioned in your intro, and we talked about it a little bit here too. You played at goalie at all three levels. What was the biggest difference moving from the CHL to the AHL as a goalie, and then the AHL to the NHL as a goalie?
Yeah, so I think it's weird to explain, but I think it gets harder and easier at the same time as you move up levels. Um, and I'll explain that a little bit. So in the CHL, for example, you if you're in net, you really have to have your right stick ready. Like that, there's just no doubt about it. Like you have to be ready to save some crazy chances. Whereas in the NHL, that doesn't happen that much unless you've got a big skill gap, like your third line playing against Hendry and the boys that night. That if you're playing line one, it's very much just don't make a mistake and you're going to be in the game the whole time. Whereas in the C, I think mistakes happen at a much higher rate, and big time one time plays, breakaways, things like that happen much more frequently. So I feel like it's harder to be a good goalie in the C than it is in the N personally, but um, there are obviously things that make it more difficult though. The shooters are way better quality in the N than the C, and they can do things with the puck that you aren't ever going to see it below the NHL level. Um, so there's plays that you won't ever see at the CHL level until you move up. That guys will just bust out of nowhere and you weren't ready for your first time playing in the N, like your first season. Um, so it's always a learning curve when you're moving up, but it does get easier in a way because the defense, the forwards, everyone plays their position at such a more precise level. Um, you can trust your D-men to be there and pick off a one-time pass much more often. So you can left stick a lot more than you would right stick things. Um, and you can hold your short post a lot more in the N than you can in the C. In fact, you better hold your post in the N instead of right sticking out of the way, or you're gonna get cooked a lot. So it's a totally different style of playing goalie, to be honest, because the players are all so much better defensively, but also better offensively.
Mm-hmm.
So it can get hectic if, like I said, there's a skill gap, like you're playing an esports line versus a third line or with ECUs. Obviously, you're going to get smoked at the NHL level, but uh, if you're playing line one, line two against line one, line two, it's generally a pretty good matchup, and you're kind of in for a sweat fest, and it's whoever makes the first mistake's going to lose the game that night, generally. So
That's a really good explanation, like talking about the sticks too, and Popoy in the chat throwing up a goalie mask and saying he agrees with you. And I know he's a goalie that grinds it out a lot in this game, and I'm sure he can relate to a lot that you were talking about too.
great goalie, even better guy.
Yeah. And yeah, you mentioned esports. I noticed that you dabble a little bit there in the esports events. Seems to be a few different teams that you've been a part with. So do you like have a group of guys that you normally play with, or you just kind of go with the flow kind of guy?
Well, up until the last event, yeah, I didn't have a normal team. I was basically working my way up from dead last teams all the way up to a playoff contender. So, yeah, I'd play an event with whatever team would take me, try to post decent enough numbers to move up in level a little bit. And then, yeah, last event played with the INP boys, which is Rogers, Scotty Pippen, those guys, and We didn't have a great regular season. We had some team drama one night. We were all wasted a little bit in the party chat, and some feelings got hurt, and we lost a couple of our starters from that. And yeah, just but we ended up making playoffs, and unfortunately, we played Scary Hours first round, and we only scored 1 goal in 3 games against them. So we lost 2-1, 3-0, and 4-0 to those guys, which I mean, not that bad considering they're top 4 team in North America, but I mean, would have liked to maybe steal that first game where we were up, where we were tied until the last 3 minutes, 1-1. So, but yeah, I'm pretty sure one of their guys cut across in front of me and just sniped my glove while I was screened, and that was the game. You can't make mistakes at the esports level against those guys because they're going to capitalize every time. They're just that good. So
that's funny, yeah, and yeah, I mean, it sounds like you had a good time there, and I laugh a little bit, right? When you're in a party with the boys, the alcohol is flowing, the booze is flowing, nothing can come good of that, man. It's good times, but you always make bad decisions, right?
yeah, well, it started. We were playing bad because we're wasted, and then yeah, that everyone starts bringing out everything that came because it's a long season. Sharks was a long tournament, or CBJ was a long tournament. I mean,
Yeah.
and yeah, the mistakes from every every week that we made start coming out, and well, you should have done this, and blah blah blah, and then yeah, feelings get hurt, and then yeah,
Yeah,
someone
fair
leaves
enough.
the Discord, you never see them again.
That'll always happen once in a while. Cooped up
Yeah.
feelings, right?
I mean, I wasn't a part of it because I'm a goalie. Nobody wants to hear the goalie talk, so I stay muted while we play. But but yeah, it was definitely an interesting night. And then yeah, so from there we moved Scotty from wing up to center, and then brought in Pigs on left wing, and managed to make playoffs. And then Scotty couldn't play playoffs either, so we were running with like multiple utils for playoffs against a top 4 NA team. So. It went as you can expect.
And will you be signing up for the I guess Sharks just announced that they're doing one? Or
Yeah,
Ducks?
Ducks just
Ducks.
did. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm doing for a team yet. We haven't really scrimmed much as a team yet this year, so I don't know. I might be looking for a team depending on what the guys' schedules are. Might be running with IMP, who knows? But yeah, I'll definitely be signing up and utilling or starting for somebody.
There you go. That's awesome. Ducks. Yeah, Yates, I know I messed it up. I said Sharks, Ducks. I don't know. Sharks will probably come around at some point. All right, so new game out, NHL 23. How you feeling as a goalie in this game?
Yeah, it's kind of wild. So I've played the beta every year since 20. Loved the beta every year until this year. I absolutely hated the beta as a goalie. I literally was letting in like 8 or 9 goals a game in the beta. Like it was awful. I matched Entourage one night, let up like 13 goals. Like it was horrible. Um, and then the game comes out and I can't be scored on. And I'm like, what is going on? Like the game felt amazing. The full game release as goalie. So I don't know. I was making clip saves all over the place, and yeah, it feels really good right now. I think they've toned it down a little bit with the latest update, but goalie still feels really good. Um, Obviously, the people in front of you are going to be super important this year, especially with like poke checking, slowing down a defender. You can get straight line pretty easy if you poke at the blue line and miss. So breakaways and stuff like that are going to be a big thing, I feel like, this year if your D-men are poke happy. But yeah, goalie feels pretty good so far. So
Yeah, dude, I remember the beta, man, and I was like playing with my boys and like goalie that I play with a lot, Soldier Man, really really good guy and good goalie too. And he like all these things were going in on him, and like he didn't deserve these goals, and I'm being like, oh my god, there's gonna be no goalies for LG. Nobody's gonna play this game. Like it was that bad, man. Like things were like it just didn't make sense. Some of the stuff was happening. Game comes out. I think I would agree with you. I think goalies look great right now, and I think that's awesome. I'm glad they fixed it. What's the point of having a beta though? Like if it's that bad versus what the final product is, but hopefully maybe that's why it got better. I'm glad to hear that you're enjoying it too.
I think there'll still be some tweaks to come to though, because Heatseeker is pretty much useless at this point. Close quarters is still overpowered as heck, but Yeah, I think they're still gonna be fine tuning it and probably make skaters a little better. Probably make goalies a little easier to snipe too. But yeah, uh, RW and I, or RWB and I, had that same conversation in Twitter DMs. We were like, man, if they don't change something from this beta, there's gonna be nobody playing competitive goalie this year, dude. Because like, you cannot stop a freaking shot. Like it was insane in the beta. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It was like I felt like in the beta, like you'd be in position, but your gloves just wouldn't move. Your legs wouldn't react till the puck was like right there, right past you. So it was just weird. But
Yeah, for sure. Lots of people
I'm
agreeing with
glad
you.
it's better now. So
Yeah, lots of people agreeing with you too, and yeah, I'm glad it's better too. Because well, I'm kind of not glad because I'm not a big goal scorer, but I was scoring goals in the beta, so it was kind of nice to score goals once in a while. Um,
yeah,
so
skaters were loving the beta. I remember that.
oh yeah, it was
Everybody,
point
all
night.
the skaters I know were like, "Oh, this is great." I
I was a
was
goal
like,
scorer.
"This sucks as a goalie. I hate my life."
Yeah, just stay for one more. I need to score for 8 more goals next game.
Yep.
um, okay, so a question I like to ask all my guests, and this will be the last question. For you, and then I do allow my guests to always have one question for myself. So if you have one lined up, we'll do that after. But I would say, like, if you guys have any questions for Wheelz, get them out there. I'll ask him, and he might answer, he might not answer. We'll see how it goes. But a question I always ask my guests is, McDonald reaches out to you and says, Wheelz, today you get to make one decision. We get to change anything you want in the league. What would it be? Like, what would you change in LG?
I'd gentleman agreement, close quarters not being used. No, that's a goalie answer right there. To be honest, the only thing I would really change is like you can't really change this about the league because it's just how it is. Guys go with who they trust and who they know. But I'd like a little more opportunity to try out for some guys and prove you can play because I've been not to complain too much. I love playing LG and blah blah blah, but I've kind of been on terrible teams most of my LG like career where I'm like facing like 15, 16, 17 shots and the other goalie's facing 8 and we're losing most of those games because we're getting killed. So and then you just look bad as a goalie because you're the last line of defense and your numbers aren't great. So um, I'd love to be able to try out for some more dudes, but it is what it is. It's all good.
Yeah, that's fair. Like realistically, like that's a really good point too. And I think there's a lot of like lower level guys that probably maybe feel the same too, right? Once guys kind
Yeah,
of get their group of guys and they go after the same guys, and it's really hard to break in like for the lower level guys. And like you said, right, like being on some tough teams, you don't get necessarily the stats that you want to maybe pump to say like you're an unreal goalie by any means or whatever. But no, it's a really good point, and I'll tell you. You were against it earlier. One way to fix that, bro, is you just manage, be an owner. There you go. You can make your own team.
Yeah, definitely. But then you got people that don't want to play for you or whatever. I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
No, but it makes sense why it's like that though. Like a guy like Fisher is going to go after 2 goalies that he's played with in the past and knows can handle whatever situation is going to happen, right? He's going for an LG championship. Like he's not going to gamble on a random AHL guy that's coming up that has okay numbers, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No,
So
for sure.
it's I totally get it why it is the way it is, and my advice is just get in draft discords. Anytime those guys are looking for somebody, throw your name out there if you think you're ready and can prove yourself. And because I honestly I've had a lot of opportunity. I've scrimmed with Prodigy, Entourage, all the top teams. All those guys are fantastic. They've all given me opportunities to learn behind them and play at high levels of competitive NHL. So I can't thank them enough. And I wouldn't have made the NHL without those opportunities in club scrims because I wouldn't have improved as fast as I did. So
Yeah, that's fair. I've heard a lot of that. I've never been part of any of those draft lobbies or anything because I think I joined one time and was like, I had no clue what's happening here. So I just left. But
it
no,
is a learning experience.
I heard it's
for
really
sure.
great. Like there's some guys that I know who've played that have kind of moved up the ranks just from playing those games too. So that's a really good call out.
There's very few of the top guys that are like super toxic. It's generally like lower level NHL guys and then like the top end AHL guys that are like more of the toxic dudes that'll talk crap on you if you play bad in a scrim. But generally the top dudes, they understand, like everyone makes mistakes and you're learning and blah blah blah. Like, so they're generally pretty nice when you're playing with them in a for fun game or whatever. So
For sure. And Spads Yo is in the chat saying that's why he took management. He was tired of being on bad teams, I'll say. And he also suggested the same thing that I suggested, was build your own team. So maybe somewhere down the line.
Maybe one day.
Maybe somewhere down the line, Wheelz is the owner. We'll see.
We'll see if I can get a top esports dude to be a GM or something. We'll see.
Hey, there you go. There you go. That'd be the way to go.
We need one good free contract at least.
No, only goalie management team.
I mean, I talked to Gazelle about that once a couple years ago, back when we were both in the sea.
Oh my god!
I was like, dude, hey, we could do it. Just build a gnarly D in front of us.
The league would have a meltdown with 2 goalie managers. Everyone would be in so much shock. Do it. You guys should do it for sure.
It would probably be fun, but I would only do that in the sea, like a duo goalie management. Like that's the only league you can probably do that in, because you need, like, at the NHL level, if not one, you at least, or if not both, you at least need one of your guys to be a top end player. Like you cannot. You've seen the last few years the teams that get smoked in the end. They've got 2 managers that are not esports level, and it doesn't work when you have no cap space. You need to be able to spend quite a bit of money and build at least 2 really competitive lines. So
yeah, for sure. For sure. You and Gazelle are in sync right now. Literally, as you said, the CHL is the only place. He typed it in the chat at the exact same time. It's wild. You guys are on the same level right now. And but yeah, so
a lot.
Yeah, again, I'll ask the chat, like, if you guys have any questions for Wheelz, put them in now. And I'll ask you, Wheelz, do you have a question for me?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna flip it back on you. What's one thing you would change if McDonald's hit you up about the league?
Well, right now I would just change it back to 3-3-3 instead of 4-4-4 instantly.
Oh, you don't like that? Oh, no. I love that, actually. Get more games out of the way in one night.
No, I wouldn't. No, I honestly, I think one thing I would change is the RA system. Just the way it's managed and how, like, I've been in the CHL my whole career, right? And you know, you can get a guy who's completely inactive RA to your team. You go back to the bottom of the list, and then the next team gets a late sign up who's a stud, right? And it's just it's unfortunate. It is what it is right now, but that's something I would look into. Like, maybe there's 2 lists, right? Maybe there's a late sign up amateur list or send down list. Maybe that's what it is. Your AHL, you have a send down queue, and then you also have a late sign up list, and like you have a priority in both of those lists, and it doesn't just reset based on what you get. Because that gets included there too, right? Is send downs from the AHL, and if you just got your RA that was a late sign up or a new sign up, you go right back to the bottom of the list. You don't have that opportunity. So I think that would be an opportunity. I don't know necessarily how to fix it. There's been a lot of really good ideas thrown out there. But like, yeah, I think that's probably something that I would look at potentially fixing.
Yeah, like, I'm with you. I'm like, I let other people come up with the ideas. I'm just here to stop pucks, and that's my only job. And like, I show up to my games. I don't complain about who I play with. And like, if I'm with 5 ECUs against Hendry, whatever, I'm gonna quit at 8 goals. But we're gonna play until then. It might only last a period, but we're playing. And then yeah, like, I try to be no drama in the team discords and whatnot. Whatever's best for the team, whoever they want to throw me out with or whatever. So I'm not the ideas guy for the league, really.
Yeah, like,
and
yeah,
I've read so many great ideas too, and yeah, it's just McDonald and them got a big job to sort through all those ideas and implement what they think. And the thing is too, an idea can be great on paper, and then you implement it, and it's just a disaster. So I don't want that responsibility.
Oh no, for sure, right? And I think it's super important, and I think they do a good job managing that stuff as well.
I think they do an excellent job as well. Yeah,
we can suggest all the things in the world. We're not doing the work to actually implement it, right? So I think
100%. Yeah. And like you're running the risk of pissing off, what is the LG community, like 7,000 active players? Like that's a lot of people to annoy if you implement something that isn't good. So
Yeah,
it's big responsibility, honestly. People think it's not, but because it's a free league and whatnot, but like that's a lot of responsibility. You're listening to a lot of voices all at once and trying to do the best thing overall for everyone, right? So
yeah. Gazelle's asking when you're going to apply for staff.
oh jeez, LG staff.
So he's looking for.
What does Gazelle think I should apply for?
There you go, Gazelle.
What should I
Question
be doing?
bounces back to you in the chat. We'll see what he says here.
LG Media or something?
Yo,
Maybe make some LG graphics.
I know who I'm gonna lean on now for my streams. I don't know if I showed you what the set looks like. That's just amateur hour, just putting a bunch of shapes together and making a set for my shows. So.
No, I love it. It looks awesome.
Gazelle's saying bog. He wants you to be a bog.
A bog. Is that where you ban people? I don't like banning people, dude. Like I feel bad. I've never been the one, like I've never ratted anyone out for anything said in team chats or anything like that. So like that's not me. I don't like.
So you're the bog everybody wants then, Wheelz. You're the guy that's gonna be like, you know what? We'll give him another chance. You can get one more.
That's me. That would be me. Yeah, I'd be arguing like, well, was it really that bad? Like, is it ban worthy what he did? Like, I don't know. There's lines, obviously. Like, if you're being racist or abusive or something, obviously that's a ban. I have no problem with that. But like, if your mom dies and you missed some games or something like that, like that's where I'd be like, hey, like he showed up to all his other games before this. Like, are we really gonna ban him for this? Like, that's
fair.
Yeah, that's the type of guy.
We need LG court for that stuff. That's what we need.
Yeah. Well, I guess you can't you send in your ban to be?
Yeah, you could appeal. You could appeal. I think we could make a show though. That'd be sweet.
That'd be cool. Yeah, Kahuna's corner.
Yeah. Kahuna's court. Let's go.
Kahuna's court. Yeah, let's go, dude.
It's funny. Gazelle actually says when you said that is guys ban themselves. Bogs just push the button, which he's not wrong, right? Guys incriminate themselves in most cases.
That's
so
fair,
literally
yeah.
all you do is say, "Yep, that makes sense." Push the button.
Most of the time when I've seen a guy get banned, it's for something pretty egregious. So
yeah, big time. There's the availability ones and stuff, but I think in most scenarios, unfortunately, that's just the way it goes. If there's personal reasons, the league lets you appeal them, and if it's reasonable, they always bring them back. And I haven't seen anyone get rejected that shouldn't have been granted their appeal. So I think they do a really, really good job there.
I think the LG staff do an excellent job. It's top tier league. It's LG is as big as it is and as well known as it is, and trusted by NHL organizations because of the quality of staff and the quality of owners that LG has. So,
no, for sure. I think that's it, man. Like, just looking through the chat, see if there's anything else. I know Spads has been blowing up my chat. He's just talking about nothing to do with what we're talking about. What's he saying here? He's gonna be a bog one day. That's awesome. Do it, Spads. Do it. And he was bragging about being the leader in gifted subs on my channel. So
yeah, let's go.
He's been MIA for a while. I didn't think he was going to still be there, but he still is. He's holding the title.
I love it. Thanks for hanging out tonight, Spads.
But yeah, so let's close this out. Obviously, again, I really do appreciate you hopping on today. This all started with me sending you a message on Twitter. We've never really talked before. This is our first time having a conversation. Felt really comfortable having this conversation. And one thing I would say to you is just like, keep doing what you're doing, man. Like seriously, when I see those videos, it's so motivating. I'll continue to follow you. I think you do a great job, promoting yourself, promoting the things that you're doing, and promoting your NHL saves, which I see on a regular occasion on Twitter too. But I had a great time chatting with you today, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to sit down and have this conversation.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. Twitter's been a huge part of my my NHL journey for a long time. I've tweeted about how the night of LG went or esports, and just tweeting out save clips all the time. And yeah, it's got me in some hot water with a couple teams when we're playing bad, but whatever. I post about when I'm playing bad and the boys played great in front of me and I just sucked. I post when the boys are playing bad. I post when we're playing great. Like, I post everything. So it's real a look into LG at all levels if you follow my Twitter. But yeah, some dudes don't like how much I post on there about LG for sure. So but what can you do? That's me. I post on Twitter regularly. So
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. Like I said, keep doing what you're doing. I think you're an awesome dude. And like I said, first time talking to you, felt really comfortable in this conversation. Hopefully sometime soon. I know that you joined my Discord, which is awesome. Maybe we can get some games in and have some fun too.
I was just gonna suggest that. I was gonna say thanks for having me on, and we should get some games in.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, let me know anytime you need a goalie. I'll play with anyone. So I'm always down to play with new people. I feel like you need to be, as a goalie especially, be very diverse in the groups you play with, because you're gonna learn something with every group you play with at every skill level. So you're gonna learn how to read a giant situation or how to stay short or something. You're going to learn something playing with all different calibers of players and different people. And you're most likely going to make some good friends out of it in the process too. So highly recommend playing with as many different groups of people you can as a goalie coming up in LG.
Oh, man, for sure, for sure. And I promise the one thing you're going to learn from me when we play together is how good I am at dunking on my own goalie. So be prepared.
Let's go, dude. Hey, you're esports ready then, by my experience the last few weeks. I got a couple clips from scrims the other night, my D-man dunking it. Basically slap-shotting it 5-hole on me. After he picks off a 1T.
If you scroll my Discord in the highlights section a little bit, you'll see it. There's a video of me somewhere there just taking a clap bomb at my goalie and scoring completely by accident, which is a tough video. But anyways,
hey, as long as it doesn't happen in Sharks finals or something, you're good to go.
I won't be in Sharks finals ever, man. Not a chance.
You never know, dude. You never know. Keep grinding.
There we go. There's my goal. Sharks finals, dunking on my goalie to lose the game. That's my goal for my future in NHL. But yeah, no, thanks again, man. Appreciate you doing this. Have yourself a great night, and we'll talk soon, and we'll get together and play some games.
Absolutely. I really appreciate the opportunity. Thanks, Kahuna.
All right, man. Take care.
Later.
All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed that one. I sure did. I thought that was a great conversation. First time, like I said, literally first time ever talking to Wheelz. And he just showed up as one of the great guys like I was told he was. So unreal guy. Very happy he was comfortable with sharing his story at the beginning of that. Very interesting guy. Lots of very, very involved in the hockey world. So good connection to have too. So thank you all for joining. Just a couple things here before we close this out. I know in the Discord I've been talking about CHL owner show. I'm gonna do that. Quick reaction to the owners. I'm not gonna do that tonight. So I've actually had an opportunity to link in with somebody who knows that PSN side very well. And I think I'm gonna work with him and try to get a show where we do the PSN, ECHL, as well as the rest of the CHL too, the Xbox side. So we're gonna hopefully plan to do something next week, early next week. Not too late. So I think that'll be a good opportunity. And I mentioned it last stream. I mentioned it in the Discord today. Movember's coming up. I'm a very, very strong participant in that campaign, in that foundation every year. Usually leading my work teams. I've decided to step away from that and create my own team and hopefully get as many of you involved as much as I can. I'm going to do some fun stuff throughout the month, and I look forward to that. So if you saw that in the Discord and it's something that you normally participate in, join the KAHUNA'S Corner team. I've put it in my Discord. I will start adding it into chat here once I get the link. And if you haven't been a participant in Movember and it's something you're interested in doing, feel free to reach out. I can get you involved and get you signed up. And I think we'll have a lot of fun. I look forward to seeing some of the mustaches throughout the month. So hope everybody has a great night. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Wheelz in the chat. Of course, man, anytime you'd be welcome on my show. Great guy. But yeah, have a great night. Best of luck to everybody in scouting. We got the season bidding, I think, starts next end of this week, actually. We're almost there. So if you haven't signed up and you're interested in playing, please sign up for the league. We need numbers, I think. I looked at the numbers. I don't think they're where we want them to be, but sign up if you haven't signed up and you plan on playing. Scout where you want to play. And good luck to everybody as you go through bidding too. So hope everyone has a great night. And we will be back next week for the owner reaction show. Have a great night.